Okay, so this is going to be a quick run through of vehicle combat revolving around an ambush initially to see how it works. So what we have before us is a pretty standard layout. We've got a road, beautifully done in Dungeon Draft, if I do say so myself, and that's the battle map. We've got two buildings, they're pretty irrelevant. We've got DJ and Doc Everett. Doc Everett, welcome. DJ, welcome. Hiding in some trees, behind some cover. We've got our two favourite Russians, now equipped as driver and as gunner / commander of the vehicle. We have a BTR 60, standard low grade Russian APC, packing a KP T, I think it is, or KPV, sorry, in a turret. So that's a heavy machine gun. Just for reference, we've armed DJ for the sake of this combat with the M72A3 Law heavy weapon, 66mm. Now, important point, my recollection of Law is it's a fire and forget, not a reusable weapon. However, that is not mentioned in the rules, so we'll be treating it as if it can be reloaded. That will allow us to use the heavy weapon rules for reloading. And we're using the character sheet, the custom character sheet that's being generated by Pakahui and Nico Phoenix, from the Discord channel. They've done some excellent work. The dice rolling probably isn't quite where it needs to be, but for the sake of now, it'll do, and we're just going to use it as it is written. Sorry, we're not going to use it as it's written. I'm going to use Sabitus. Sorry, my apologies for the sake of this. Now, the setup is we're waylaying. So these two guys are waylaying. What that means is they're getting a bonus of 2 because they're static and they're waiting for the vehicle to approach. They've chosen close range, so they took a -1, and then they also got a bonus of 1 for the forest that they're hiding in. Doc Everett has C intelligence and C recall, and DJ has D intelligence, I'm pretty sure, and C recon, and because they're the ones who are hiding, we took the lowest, so total modifier of 2 in his advantage. So we will assume he goes BC as a result. Now, for the sake of this combat, we're just going to assume that he rolls successfully and he gets a success. So he's ready to fight. Now, just so you're aware, the green lines which I drew onto the map for the sake of this conversation represent the facing of the vehicle. So it's got side armor, and this is side, this is side, this is rear, and this is front. Note that the vehicle itself is facing directly on a aspect, on a side of a hex. You're not meant to, and there's even an explicit little picture in the alpha rules saying please don't put it pointing towards a corner. So it should be pointing towards a direction. In this case, it's doing that. Since this Russian, who was the gunner / looker, did fail his recon roll, we can assume that we're ready to rock and roll. So DJ, what have you got going for you? DJ has strength D and heavy weapons C, and he can see the vehicle coming at him. It's moving, so he's going to take a -2 to hit. He's assumed to be aimed because a heavy weapon can only be fired on the assumption that it's aimed. There's no such thing as a fast shot. And he's crouched down behind these concrete, what I'm going to call concrete walls because they're so thick and sturdy. And in addition, he gets some cover from the forest itself. So he's pretty well armoured when it comes down to it. He will shoot, and we're going to roll. And now he's only, unfortunately, because he gets -2, he only gets a D. And he misses with his first shot. So the rocket launcher fires off and fails to hit. It does, however, do blast damage in the area. So he can hit the hex if he wants, doing blast damage. We're assuming not. So the missile zooms off into the distance and does no damage. The machine gunner in here now realizes what's going on. And if we have a look at the machine gunner, oops, sorry, I've been using Foundry too much recently, where that actually works, has a C and a D, sorry, 2 Cs. Now, he's in a moving vehicle. It's not stabilized. So he's rocking along. He takes -2 to hit because he's in a moving vehicle. He's got -1 because they're hiding in this forest, which gives it an additional -1. It is, however, close range because the KPV has a range of 20, I should say. So Trez ridiculous, and it has a rate of fire of 4. So we are now going to roll for that. So if I go W and we go, now it was C and C, but we're down to D, and then we go 4D. We get 1 successful suppression check on our good friend here. He makes his suppression check. Now, his coolness under fire. DJ, what's your coolness under fire? You've got Command C, and I'm pretty sure, if I put it in, you've got C as well. So he gets 2 C's to say, I'm not interested. Very much, thanks very much. So he will go RWCC, and he doesn't get any successes. All right. For the sake of this fight, we're going to assume he made it because I actually want to play out hitting with the weapon. So he and they are now exchanging fire. He's made his coolness under fire check because he was lucky, and the fight is on for young and old. Now, at this point, what I would have done is do initiative for all 4 players. As it turns out, I've done that previously. It would have normally been DJ first, Gunner second, him third, and then driver fourth. However, DJ and Doc Everett swap, which means the gunner will go first. And the reason for that is Doc Everett's going to reload the weapon. So in a heavy weapon, you must reload. It takes a slow action every turn. However, someone else can reload for you. So someone can stand behind and jam the thing in, and then you can fire every round, which is exactly what he's going to do. So it's static for the sake of this move, and the gunner shoots again. So we'll just roll that. And we've used 15 ammo of our 40 that we have in the weapon, so that's fine. We still have more than enough, so it's D, 4D. Again, once again a suppression check. Once again, we'll assume we make it for the sake of the conversation. Now, the good news, the vehicle has stopped moving. So if we look at DJ, DJ is ready to rock and roll. He's got his law. And he's going to roll his heavy weapon skill, which, as we noted before, was D and C. And this time it's going to work, I tell you. So he goes W, D, C. He gets a hit. Okay, now for the bad news for the bad people. So this weapon, as you will see, has a damage of 6, a crit of 3, and an armor modifier of -1. And if we look at the BTR, and I did this earlier just so, now we don't have a vehicle weapon sheet yet, so I've just used the armor location of the weapon, but I've just written front, side, and rear. As it turns out, it's got exactly the same armor in every location, so that's 4, goes down by -1, so it's now down to 3, which means the weapon penetrates, doing 3 points of damage and scoring a crit if it hits someone in the location that they don't want to be hit. So if we roll on the component damage table, which is how we apply damage to a vehicle, and we go so WD10 because it's a D10 roll, we hit 3. Okay, so we take out the suspension of the weapon. So if we have a look at what does suspension do, each point of damage will reduce the reliability of the vehicle by 1 step. So it starts at A, I believe. Actually, does it start at, yeah, everything starts at A. So yes, it started at A, so it goes B, C, and D, or A to B, B to C, C to D. So yes, D. And it is basically taken 3 points of damage from that hit, and it is penetrated. Now, because it's penetrated, the blast of the weapon is applied inside the vehicle to everyone who's inside the vehicle, which means I roll the blast radius of the weapon. So you'll note that it's got a blast of C, which means I'm going to roll 2d8 or CC. Okay, 2 successes. Now the blast damage is 2, 3, I think. So that's 2 damage, 3 to crit, which means I'm going to crit both opponents. I'm assuming the blast, I'm just for the sake of simplicity applying the blast twice. Sorry, the same blast effect to both opponents. So I just checked that out. Yes, it's 2 and it's 3. And it does add 1 armor, but that's not going to help anyone. It's doing 4 points of damage, and it's definitely going to crit both opponents. So both the gunner and the driver will be taking a crit. Now we roll the location of the crit, which we do using the standard crit location. Does this work? I think it does. Yes, it does. Okay, so we got 2 3s. Okay, which means we hit them both in the torso. We'll give them their armor that they were wearing, which means they take 3 points of damage each. Still crits them, because 3 is enough to crit from the weapon. And then we roll a d10 for each for torso. So let's see what happens to the 2 lovely folk in the thing. Okay, so the first one was a 1 and the second one was a 10. Okay, 1, snapped collarbone. So the driver has a snapped collarbone and takes a mobility modifier of -1. The gunner takes a impaled heart and is instantly killed, killing them instantaneously. In addition, so the gunner's dead, the driver's still alive, the driver could still move and hasn't moved yet, but the driver has one more problem. Because the vehicle was penetrated, they will need to make a coolness under fire check, or else they're going to try and bail out of the vehicle. And let's roll for that. So Russian number 1, what is you had command D, which I think was the best command, and I'm pretty sure you have a CUF, CUF of C. Oh, it's not in there. I'll give you a C for the sake of this. So it's a C and a D. And if we go to Sabitas again, and we go RWCD, 2 successes. So he holds on. So what can he do? He can ram. He can charge his vehicle forward, realizing that it's on fire. The vehicle is on fire, his gunner is dead, he has very little to do, but he does have the choice of ramming. When you roll a mishap, okay, so he hasn't rolled for his driving skill yet, but he's about to. Now, he can roll... Oh, I missed it. Okay, it doesn't matter. I know what the rules are. So he will have a look at his Russian 1 attributes and skills, and we see he's got C and D. So he's going to try and fang it and use the vehicle to run over his opponents. Combat getting out. Hold on. Actually, just let me pause this for 1 second. I'll just confirm this. Okay. We found the ramming rules are well hidden. Okay. Make an opposed roll for driving. If the opponent is an individual, they instead roll for mobility. The roll counts as an action for you, the attacker. When you're ramming a person, the crit threshold for ramming against individuals is 2. The attacking vehicle suffers no damage. However, we are going to be ramming through, and you may have seen it, so I'll just clear it out of the way. We are going to be ramming through a concrete wall. Now, we can definitely do the distance, there's no issue there, but smashing through the concrete wall. When you ram a vehicle, which is the rules we're going to apply because you're ramming a building, when ramming another vehicle, the attacking vehicle also suffers damage equal to the rear armor rating of the target vehicle unmodified. So, concrete wall, 3 points of cover, 3 points of armor, 3 points of damage, which will be enough to seriously injure it. Now, 1 point. When vehicle armor is penetrated, it goes down by 1 for each penetration. So the armor of the front armor of this vehicle is currently 3 because it was penetrated by the missile launcher. So we'll make a ramming roll, and we're going to be doing that by rolling our driving skill. which we have, and we are C and D, as I think we noted earlier. Okay, so let's do this. C's and D's everywhere. Okay, we got one success. Okay, so on fire, flaming, the vehicle charges forward, smashing through the concrete, taking 3 points of damage to the front armor of the vehicle, and giving DJ a serious fright. So DJ will now choose to use his mobility skill to try and jump out of the way. So what is his mobility? It's B and it's C. Now, the opponent got one success. The driver got one success, so he just needs to get one success or more, and he will nullify the effect, diving out of the way. So BC, he got one success. So the vehicle smashes through the concrete wall, crashing into this space. We'll put DJ here for the sake of convenience. Probably not realistic, but it'll do. The vehicle has smashed through. It's taken 3 points of damage to its front armor, which has not penetrated. Yay. And it is currently sitting there looking rather damaged. DJ's off to one side, having successfully avoided it. The vehicle is not weaponed and is penetrated. Now DJ has a choice at this point. He can run away and reload. He can duck onto the other side. He can just empty his normal weapon now into the somewhat weakened armor. No, it didn't get penetrated, so that's fine. Actually, it did not get penetrated. However, a non-penetrating hit still rolls. So the vehicle took a non-penetrating hit to the front from the ram. Now, technically, I don't know if this is exactly what they mean, but if the hit did not penetrate the armor, use the non-penetrated column, in which case apply the full damage of the attack not reduced by armor. You roll on the component not present on the vehicle, or you do not move at the table. Instead, the attack has no effect. So that's quite a difference. So we will roll to see what happened out the front. On the non-penetrating table. It's a ricochet, which I think means pretty much nothing. I'll just double check that statement. Ricochet, attack bounces off a random direction. All individuals on the outside of the vehicle on foot must make no, so it wasn't a shot, so that's fine. So the vehicle is still operating. It's got reliability D. It's not looking good. At this point, I think we're going to stop because we've sort of proven out the point. The vehicle is highly damaged, and it's now in rough terrain, which it of course did not want to be, which means a mobility roll, a driving roll will be required. So we'll just, for the sake of doing something, we'll go RW, and what was the Russians' driving skill again? C and D, yes. No successes. Okay, so we're already at reliability D, so we would roll RWDD. Oops, no, sorry, RWDD, and we got no successes there either. So the vehicle is probably busted, and if we actually look at what the table says about failing the reliability roll of a vehicle, I'm sure we're going to find that it's not good. Yep, reliability. Roll 2 base dice. If the roll fails, the vehicle suffers a minor malfunction. After the current movement, it becomes temporarily inoperable. It can be fixed with slow action and tech roll. And I think that's where we will stop it because the vehicle is not looking good. Oh, we didn't roll a mishap though. No, so okay, so we don't roll that actually, sorry, because we did not roll a mishap. We just didn't roll a great success. Now, at that point, the vehicle's pretty dead, even with that. The vehicle's in a ton of strife, and we can run away, or we can just empty our guns into it, or we can, you know, throw a grenade at it, and let's pretend that that's what we do. So Doc Everett was going to move first. He clambers onto the vehicle and attempts to enter it. So there are no rules for this, but it's pretty obvious that that's going to be a tech roll. So we will roll our tech skill and see what happens. So that's a C and a C to break into the vehicle. and he gets 2 successes. So I would give him that. I would say he's clambered onto the vehicle, and he has now used his tech skill to successfully enter the vehicle, breaking through the hatch or coming in through the turret or something of equally smart nature, and possibly then gunning down the Russian inside the vehicle, who is already badly injured. The vehicle is on fire. It's all kinds of bad. And that's how we're going to stop the fight. So really key points are facing for a lot of vehicles matters. It didn't in this case because they had 4 in every direction, but actually in a lot of cases that's not the case, so that matters. The rocket launcher is deadly, but once again, like all things Twilight 2000 version 4, hitting is pretty hit and miss. And remember this, heavy weapons generally don't have a rate of fire, and what that as in they don't roll ammo dice, and that specifically means additional hits are off the table and you're dependent on getting the successes. So there's going to be a lot of temptation to wait and fire when your opponent is within close range of your weapon. Anything else is insane, and preferably a static target, definitely firing from ambush, definitely using cover, I would advise. Okay. Thanks very much, and I might look at indirect fire heavy weapons next, but that'll probably be after New Year's. Okay, thanks very much, guys. Bye.